So I'm sure from the news and all the videos, we all heard of what's happening in Greenland. But today we're going to take a look at why US is so interested in this cold tundra. So let's start with the history. Greenland started out to be a territory of Denmark, which was almost a vast inhabitable region due to its cold weather. But because of global warmings, ice caps are slowly melting in the Arctic. And this is creating some new opportunities in today's modern society. Now, the reasons why it is beneficial and why Trump wants to have it may be because of the following. The reasons why Greenland is of such national interest for the US is primarily due to three reasons. First, Greenland is located right in a strategic region with this map between the US and Russia. The US wants to use it as a point of strategy for the tensions that are happening right now between these two countries. Second is the global shipping routes. As ice caps have melted in the Arctic, the seas are now forming around that area, allowing for ships to pass through. So let's say, for example, you wanted to get from the United Kingdom to Japan. Instead of sailing across the world, you could simply go around the top of it. And lastly, Greenland, not being so thoroughly mined out, has some of the most precious metals and technologies to date. These can be used for new tech like EVs and smartphones, all of which are vital to today's modern society. So now that we've understood why the US wants Greenland, let's look at some of the concerns around this issue. Obviously, taking military action over national interests is very extreme. Thus, bills such as the Make Greenland Great Again have been proposed to enter negotiations with Denmark to acquire this piece of land. The current president has proposed to buy Greenland from Denmark for a certain amount of money. Obviously, Denmark has rejected this offer many times, so Trump has pressured to put tariffs on these countries involved. Now, Denmark has responded with fierce vigilance, saying that they will not back down even with these tariffs. And there's always been harsh pushback, especially from Greenland residents themselves. The Prime Minister himself of Greenland has said that he will not back down even through these tariffs that the US is threatening to impose. So actually, back in 1917, we did buy a piece of land from Denmark, which is now known today as US Virgin Islands, located right here on the map. Now, back then our tactic was very different. It was something called gunboat diplomacy, where we would essentially threaten military force and take over the island if the country did sell to us. Actually, right here is a graphic of how American cartoonists portrayed this gunboat diplomacy back then. As you can see, this big cannon pointing to Europe is supposed to be America trying to keep Europe out of Latin American affairs, while also forcing the people in Latin America to struggle while the US solely interferes with their affairs. This was obviously very oppressive, and Denmark did sell it to us also because they couldn't really keep control of that land so far away from their main country. Now, back then, gunboat diplomacy or military diplomacy might have been used, but today we're using tariff diplomacy. As you obviously cannot threaten military power, we're now threatening economic devastation. And as you all know, military action should never be used, but Trump in some recent reports has said that he has not ruled out the option of military takeover. Thus, Denmark has been seen sending troops and military units over to Greenland to help protect it. Trump has defended the claim of needing Greenland with it is vital to national security, and that if US doesn't take it over, Russia and China might influence it. Now, I believe that the biggest point of concern here is that it is souring many relationships, especially among very strong alliances. For example, the NATO alliance, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that consists of many European countries and many countries from the Americas, are supposed to be working together in military to protect themselves. But as you can see, the two countries in conflict and dispute here are two NATO alliance members. And if disputes continue to happen within this alliance, we may see a breakage and weakening of a very strong alliance that was once created after World War II. I think the key factor to take away from today's video is that peaceful international cooperation is essential to any nation's security. A nation functioning isolated and without support and connectedness with other countries is one country that will suffer economically and socially. And as we live in a world that grows ever more interconnected through telephones, cell phones, and families that are just a call away, it's important that we keep good relationships with every country to build our world up together. Organizations like the UN do provide us a base to talk internationally, but I think something today is that we must learn to trust each other and help each other instead of fighting for our own national interests. And as always, make sure to go and research this for yourself to help to develop your own understanding. Look at a wide variety of sources to consider everybody's perspectives, and then you can have your own understanding of this situation and maybe act upon it. I also believe that the decision of whether or not Greenland should be sold should be up to the people that are impacted. For example, the people of Greenland, also the owners of Greenland, Denmark, and the native Inuit people that live there. Because in the end, it is going to be them who are directly impacted by whatever policies or changes happen to their homeland.